Aha. Right. So welcome on board to the Alien Spaceship with my cause. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship with myself, Emmy Hikins, and he calls me bruv.
And myself, Trevor Gear, and I get called Cuz or Bruv or Bro, for that matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter,
They
does
all
it?
count.
Oh, yes, yes. So, Trevor, there is this lady called, hang on, let me just find her name out. She's
Not
called
Rose.
Asparagus.
Oh,
Asparagus lady. Have you heard of the asparagus lady? She's called
no.
Jemima Pakington, the world's
Right.
only Asparamancer.
And what is that exactly? Tell me more.
Right. Well, I just call her the asparagus lady. Now, I don't know if you like your vegetables. I don't know how much you like your
Yes,
vegetables.
asparagus is all right. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. So this lady um, predicts can predict the future with asparagus. So she gets a bunch of asparagus in her hands. She throws it up in the air, and the landing pattern is what she relies on for her predictions. So I don't know how that is done, but so according to the news, I think she first came onto the media. She first came into the media in 2016, and it was
Mhm.
on this morning that I saw her actually the first time. It was 2016, Jemima Pakington, and uh, and according to the news, she's been able to successfully predict the Queen's death. She was able to
Yeah.
predict that, and there was something else that she predicted. Let me see.
What do you mean? Did she predict when it would happen? Anybody
Yeah,
could have predicted the Queen's death, couldn't they?
yeah. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point there. Right. So she did predict that the Queen will
And you fell
die.
for that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Well,
go on.
yeah, yeah. So anybody. This is why we love this show, don't it? So, anyway, so she predicted that the Queen would die at a certain time, obviously, because everybody gets to die at some point anyway. I hope I don't soon. Uh, and another prediction that she was able to predict correctly was Brexit, which we don't like talking about. It divides a
Political.
quite a wide range of opinions. So yeah, so she was
Yeah.
able to predict Brexit and and the Queen's passing. Okay. Now she appeared again on the news on this morning. I think the first time was with Holly Willoughby and the other guy. Oh, what's his name? Anyway,
What they did, Philip Schofield. Yeah.
Philip Schofield. Yes. Right. Okay. So this time around, she's appeared on. I think it was May the 31st when she appeared again. I actually saw that episode. I don't actually watch it this morning, but somehow by a stroke of luck, I actually saw that, and she predicted that there would be a general election soon, and that um, Keir Starmer, who is now our prime minister, would not be the one to lead Labour into the next election, which we all know turns out to be
Mm,
wrong or
wrong.
incorrect. Yeah. So, thoughts, Trevor? Thoughts? What do you think
Thoughts?
about what do you
Well,
think what do you think about the vegetable first of all? Let's start with the vegetable.
I tend to predict the future using carrots. So, it's I think they're a better version of it. No, what do I think about it? I think anybody who says they predict the future using carrots
Yeah.
um, probably needs a spell in hospital or something like that. Um, I mean, there's often at tournament times, World Cups, Euro Cups, and so on.
Yeah.
There's always something where someone's predicting who will win a game, maybe through a dog, which way a dog runs out of the door, or something like that. So it's just a little bit of a spectacle, I suppose. I mean, do I assume this lady, the asparagus lady, as you call her, is she sort of deadly serious about her predictions?
Absolutely. She is very,
She
very,
is.
yeah. Because if I haven't seen her and I've just read it in an article, I would say, but I have actually seen her on telly, and then she's called Jemima Pakington. I've actually seen her on telly, and she actually did it. She actually did this prediction that Keir Starmer would not lead Labour, his party, into the next election, and she did that live on telly. Because they did ask
Yeah,
her.
but didn't that disillusion you, the viewer? The fact that she got it so monumentally wrong. Surely you think, well, what a load of rubbish.
Well, funny enough, I haven't seen much of her since after the election, which the election is quite recent, isn't it? So I suppose there will be questions.
I wonder how she gets on television. Anybody could have predicted there would be a general election
Yeah,
sooner rather than later.
yeah,
Anybody could have predicted the Queen would die probably fairly soon. What was she? She was 90. I think she was about 97, was she?
yeah,
98, something like that. So they don't strike me as particularly clever predictions. Somebody could. We talked about earthquakes and coincidental dates.
yeah,
Coincidental dates. Um, Things are always going to happen, aren't they? And sometimes people will strike lucky with what they've predicted. Sometimes they won't. But I think it comes down to the question: do we really believe that anybody can predict the future? Now, maybe there are some people who are spiritually gifted,
yeah,
and who can perhaps have a sixth sense about
yeah.
things, because clearly, I mean, who's the great? I think he was French, the great French philosopher
Nostradamus,
Nostradamus.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, he came up with some very accurate predictions centuries ago, which have turned out to be true. So, very clearly, there's something in this idea that you can predict the future. But in other ways, it's probably like astrology. Now,
Yeah,
I probably said before, I think star signs or sun signs that we all have, depending on when we're born. I think people have very similar characteristics very often, not always, very often, if they're born under whatever, a particular star sign. But the fact they then take it a step forward and put in newspapers horoscopes, which
yeah,
the idea is they predict something that's going to happen in somebody's life because of the movements of the planets.
yeah,
Well, I don't know. I mean, I do believe that the movement of the planets, or the situation of the planets at the point of birth, can actually affect someone's life. That it seems to affect certain things like characteristics, but otherwise, I'm not sure how anybody can really predict the future. As a species, we're not equipped with that part of the brain, I suspect.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't believe in predictions, to be honest with you, Trevor. I don't think human being like yourself, like rightly said, I don't think human beings possess the ability to be able to see the future, for
Mm.
instance. So yes, you're right on that. But it was just that woman. She keeps getting on telly.
Well, why? How does